Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I wanted to have a conversation, therapy session, because it's something sad that happened in the world. DC Young Fly, a comedian who's on Wild 'N Out, see him on Instagram a lot. He lost his wife today. His 3 children lost their mom today because of an unfortunate incident with the BBL surgery, I believe it was, considered mommy makeover kit, I guess is what they're calling it, where they give you like 3 surgeries in one, where you can just get a whole lot of stuff done at one time. And it was done in Miami, and unfortunately she didn't make it. And so, it's one of those situations where I wanted to make a therapy session about it, because it just speaks to some of the stuff that we've been talking about on this channel in regards to certain cultures that have been invested in that ultimately make it so that your demise is your choice. But it's actually culture invested in that would otherwise make this desirable or cool or in style or some type of something to where you have to have it in order for you to live up to some type of standard. I've heard certain things being said in regards to surgeries to, like, women who don't have surgery are broke. It's like having a certain level of classism to it, to where if you can afford to have something done and you're a woman of a certain age or what have you, it's almost like if you don't have something done, then you're not wealthy enough. You're not quite a part of the in crowd. And it's the word bourgeoisie. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it has that type of thing to it, especially within our community, but also within the white community as well. I see it very prevalent within many communities in America and across the globe. So it's like, here's yet another one of them type of situations where I say, now as a black person or as a human being who's worried about our decreasing numbers, this looks like yet another culture that is invested in by people who may not look like us, or may not be in those groups who are affected by this when it goes wrong. Investing in it, benefiting from it, and more or less finding it ever so lucrative for them, while it serves as a decrease in number for us, people of color, people who, and in this case, a group that I'm not a part of, women's groups of many kinds, it results in a decrease in who you are. It ends up killing us off one by one in various situations. Now, maybe in other situations it doesn't, but that it happens is enough to where you need to consider it dangerous. And so, for me, it's like it's a lot of ways to die out here that will help decrease the numbers to make up for the decrease in cigarette smoke, because that's how they were able to kill off people in the past, to decrease the numbers. Essentially what it seems like to me is like, all right, well, we got something out here that we can definitely kill people with. The food, yeah, everybody's going to eat the food to a degree, but they're starting to get more healthy. Cigarettes, nah, they don't want to smoke cigarettes no more. They know that's going to kill them off, so how can we do it? Well, we got to invest in more killer cultures. Anything that would otherwise put forth death in those people. So let's see, spin the block. Okay, turn up the rankings, turn up the heat on investing in the music that would otherwise encourage them to choose to kill themselves. Turn up the rankings, turn up on everything that would otherwise put them in those positions to accidentally die on the surgeon's table. Like, these are cultures invested in. People are putting millions in dollars into marketing dollars that will otherwise put you in a position to say, this is cool, this is in style, this is rich representation, and this is all this other stuff that otherwise needs to be in my life, because my life isn't good enough to not live up to, if it doesn't live up to this image. And so I say she was yet another victim of that culture. Like, that's what that is. If it were shunned, if it was something that wasn't looked at as normal, she would not have wanted to do it, more than likely, and thus she would still be alive today. No different than kids going outside looking for their ops, spinning the block and shooting each other up. Yeah, it's enough of that going on outside, but when you promote it and pour it into all of the music, you know what I mean, and put it in certain situations to where you only hear that. And even on the songs where they're singing in crossover hits with pop stars, they talking about spinning the block and shooting people, then it becomes more prevalent. Then it becomes something you're investing in. Then it becomes something that not only a few people are doing, but everybody's trying to mimic everywhere they go. And so you have little kids climbing onto school buses at 14-year-olds old, trying to shoot other 14-year-olds. You hear about that story? I don't know if I even mentioned that in my last therapy session, but I wanted to. It was a situation where a kid climbed onto a bus. A couple of kids climbed onto a bus looking for their op. Looking for their op. They found him. They tried to blow his head off. The gun jammed. Luckily enough, nobody died, but they were trying. They were trying to up the score. So it's like, you're telling 14-year-olds to go do this. Of course they're going to do this. You put this in the music, you put it in the games, you put it in everything else. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. You know what I mean? They're not going to wait to see if it's cool to do. No, they're going to go out there and make it happen, because they be damned if they're going to be capping and they rapping. Okay? Because that's the one thing you cannot do. It's two things you cannot do. Snitch, and you certainly can't be lying about the things that you do. So in other words, you may funnel yourself to prison for the rest of your life. That's what they're investing in. This is the money well spent. This is marketing dollars well invested. I'm telling you. They're investing in our own deaths. They want us to pass away if we're not going to earn enough to make up the difference of what it is that whatever they're doing in life, and over leveraging themselves in other areas. It seems, from where I'm looking at, there's probably more going on than that. But if you can't make up what it is that they ultimately want you to make up, the visual, voting the way they want you to vote, slotting yourself in some type of category they can, funnel you into, so they can snatch all your data and all that other stuff, your rhythms and everything else, so they can put it into some type of AI eventually. All of these different things that I think are possible stem from our willingness to stay involved in these cultures that mean us no good. No good. And so y'all can keep on thinking that the body that God gave you ain't good enough to work on, or that the laziness that you allow yourself to fall into, not wanting to eat properly, not wanting to be exercising, all that other stuff, that laziness is something that a doctor can fix for you. But in actuality, that laziness allows you to find yourself involved in these cultures that don't mean you know well. Stop being lazy. Eat well. Take care of yourself. Bring your stress down. Bring your prayer up. These type of things need to be done in life, man, so that you can function in the presence of all this confusion. And so as I look on here and I see yet another individual lost their life trying to keep up with the Joneses in regards to these evil cultures that don't mean us no good, I just bring it to the channel in the way that I see it. It's exactly how I see it. I see it just like that. And the confusion of it all. And the agents of chaos online that we talked about in the last therapy session, or the one before that will be in your various Instagram posts, Facebook posts, all these different forums that you may find yourself on, pretending to be individuals that feel strongly about something, when actually they're just trying to make you feel like this is necessary, when actuality it's probably not what it's meant to be in regards to their intentions and who they pretend to be themselves. So that's how I look at this. I'm like, we're in a world full of confusion right now. For all I know, enough of this has been done to each and every one of these souls, man. Conversations they see online, think are real conversations. People they think are actually human beings that they believe are like them, when in actuality they're just having psychological damage being done to their minds by agents of chaos in the shadows. And so as I look at this the way that I do, I just say, man, y'all got to undo the bad energy. Undo the cultures of bad energy that mean you no good. You know what I mean? You got to look at yourself and say, I got to change my behavior, not only for the betterment of myself and the people around me, but so that we can stop being used in this way. So we can stop being herded like cattle in various directions that end up with us not being here anymore, and our children suffering without us. You understand what I'm saying? Various cultures that don't mean us no good. Cultures that are supposed to keep us feeling like we need more than ourselves, our minds, more than what it is that the Lord gave us, or what have you. Any form of godlessness that would make us otherwise have to protect ourselves against various different things, like other people's thoughts and other people's opinions and various different stuff that means us no damage whatsoever, if not for the credence we give it with our very own opinions. You gotta think about these type of things when you allow yourself to be funneled in different directions. I need to have my bigger this, bigger that. No, you don't. What you need to stay away from those places. You need to stay out of that circumstance. You need to stay off of that surgeon's table. You know what I mean? And that was literally the truth for this lady, unfortunately. Literally the truth. It wasn't just somebody trying to speak down on her in regards to her loving herself more, in regards to what she wants to look like physically. No, it was a matter of being here or not for your family. and we don't take these risks seriously enough. It's the same thing I say in regards to certain drugs you take. I get it. You're trying to deal with yourself. I get it more than most. With the head I got, obviously, I get it. But fentanyl, I mean, if you're not intending to commit suicide, then why the hell would you take something that's going to kill you? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you mean to die, then of course you take a suicide pill. But if you don't mean to die, then don't purposely take something that's going to kill you. That's what I say in regards to fentanyl. That ain't crack. That's a suicide drug, fam. That's all it is. It's out there to decrease our numbers. That's all it's there for. And we're selling it to each other like it's cute. It ain't cute, bro. That ain't there to get you high, man. It's just there to kill you, bro. That ain't there to do nothing but suicide you. So if that's what the intended result is, then that's what it's for. You know what I mean? But I don't want people who watch me to be confused about what the hell that is. That's a new cigarette. That ain't meant to get you high. That's meant to get you dead, fam. That's it. Nothing else. And so I want people to understand that. Like that particular drug, yeah, no, I'm not confused about what the hell that is. That's out there to take people's pain and turn them into cadavers, fam. I hate to be so descriptive, but that's the way the Lord has put it in my head to say it at this point. Sometimes you have to be more colorful. Sometimes you do need to step on people and make them understand just how serious it is, what it is that you see. And we lose people to these specific drugs over and over and over again. It just dawns on me that this stuff ain't out there to do nothing but kill us. That's it. That's all it's meant to do. Just like spinning the block, the culture of getting involved in that, anything in everything that would otherwise get you thrown in prison, and the conditions and when you get in prison we talk about every day. Hell, even El Chapo then came out and told y'all about the conditions in prison. El Chapo's complaining about conditions in prison. And everything these people are investing in are going to funnel us to prison, so that we can get in there and have the conditions that are basically meant to torture us. You're not seeing this? Like, I don't think people understand the evil that's taking place in real time. But it's so clear to me, I'm looking at it with my third eye, I guess. Because it seems to me that it's clear as ever that we're in a space where people have never been more confused about what it is that's killing them. And the ways that used to kill people in the 90s and any time before that, they ain't working no more. We've smartened up to some of those. They can't just feed us fast food every day. We're not eating this stuff. They can't give us cigarettes all the time. We're not smoking that stuff. They got to kill us some other way. And so all they did was just turn up the notch on the cultures. Hip hop culture, it was doing some damage in the 90s, but they could turn it up. When we talk about levels in video games and everything else, that's all it is. They just turn the notch up. Anybody ever seen the first? This is a long time ago, so I'm old as hell. I'm gonna tell y'all my age. But anybody seen the first Back to the Future movie? Remember when at the very beginning of the movie, when he plugs up his guitar and he turns it up way too high and ends up blowing the whole speaker out and his whole body flies to the back of the room? That is exactly how I envision how they did hip hop. And it's like, okay, we had it at a 7 back when Pac and them was running around. Everybody was trying to be gangsters. This is about a 7. We're gonna turn it up to a 38 in 2023 when Vaughn and all these dudes are coming out and 6ix9ine and all that. That's where we're at. They turned up the notch. So I understand what we're looking at. I know exactly what I'm looking at. And so that's why I preach against it and really don't care what happens in the short term in regards to myself about how I speak and what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, there's 2 things that I know true to myself. 1, it's a therapy session, so I always write myself off as crazy. And 2, I know the Lord put certain things in me that he ain't going to put in me unless he wants me to say it as clearly as I'm starting to feel is necessary. And so I just trust the instincts. That's what I do at this point. Gone through too much not to trust myself. So now I just skip over the does this make sense to say, and just go right into it. It's a therapy session. And so that's where my head is at, man. That's what Miss Jackie O's passing did to my mind. So it put me in a space to understand that she, and I'll word it this way and people will understand that I don't mean it literally, but was murdered by the culture, by way of the culture that killed her. Culture that was invested in by individuals who want people like her to look a certain way, I guess, And the duality of that is also some of them can pass away. And the duality of that is also they can get a lot of money. And there's also a duality of that to where they can invest in more different companies and pharmaceuticals because they're making a lot of money in this aspect of the field. This is a lot of stuff, man, that I look at and I say, okay. So if somebody like has a sick desire to like do weird stuff to women, they can become doctors like this and like accidentally kill somebody every 3 months. You know what I mean? These are the type of things. It's like, yo, I don't know what type of evil people are engaging in, but I know that these cultures sheepishly herd people toward these individuals like cattle. So whatever their intentions are, they got enough subjects. And I just watch my sister sit there, and then I watch the bots sit there and try to engage in anything that would otherwise deter you from telling people to love themselves enough not to do this. Then you got somebody that looks like you in the picture, but ain't actually like you because they're not a real account most of the time, sitting there saying, no, you're telling these people to love themselves, but you're actually showing hate because really these women love themselves. Because it's like, yo, somebody just passed away. We're not talking about esteem here. We're talking about health here. We're talking about malpractice, possibly in certain situations where they try to get these surgeries done. We're not necessarily talking about anything else other than saving people's lives. So let's not allow these agents of chaos to confuse us about what it is the intention is when people say, women, love yourself, don't do this to yourself, you don't need this surgery, this, that, and the third. It's not because people want to put you down or keep you looking the way you don't want to look. It's because these doctors haven't figured out a way not to let this happen. That's why. Because the science itself is rather early in the process. And that is where it begins and ends for me. Now, as far as my opinion, I don't think they're also where they need to be artistically in a lot of cases, to make people look like human beings. But I've also seen some that do, so I leave that alone in regards to that. It's an evolving science, but as I said, it's not where it needs to be, and people are dying. So that's what it really comes down to, man. That's what it really comes down to. It's a culture meant to kill you. So I don't think anybody is confused about my opinion on the situation. I, at the same time, feel myself to be someone who doesn't have a problem supporting somebody who wants to do something for themselves, so long as they know the risk. And I've talked to friends who've done this. I talked to a friend who wanted to do this for herself. She went on with the whole thing, and I was very supportive of it. Nothing bad happened. She looked great. No problem. But I would be lying if I said I didn't worry during that process about this very thing in regards to my buddy when she decided to do some things like this. So it was like, this is the risk everybody takes for their own life. You know what I mean? If they want to do certain things, I can't tell somebody the gym is going to be enough. Maybe they don't feel that way. Maybe they don't want to put in the work, but at the same time, it's like, that's a conditioning of the mind, no different than you've conditioned yourself to be comfortable enough to let somebody cut things off of you and put things on you. You got to condition yourself enough to be strong enough to do the work too. It's just, it's all about what your mind's ready for. Because if you tell me I have to go to the gym and work hard for the next 8 hours a day, or I got the choice to have some dude put pieces on me, I'm gonna be more so afraid of the knife rather than the work. So it's all about the mindset. But people are bold, man. People want to do what they want to do. They want to step out and keep up with cultures. They want to keep up with one another. People want to feel like they're in the in crowd, and they end up, in the ground, trying to keep up with these people, trying to keep up with these evil cultures that don't mean them no good. Running around with godlessness on their heart, or even worse, callousness on their heart in regards to trying to keep up with God. That's the new one. I hate in the name of the Lord. Like, yeah, right, buddy. We got it. And those agents of chaos that try to make you think that anybody that opposes certain things is of that ilk. And that is also purposeful. I want people to understand I see that too. You know what I mean? They want you to think that everybody who is against certain things is specifically a hater, when that is also not necessarily the case. You know what I mean? You just see it all over the place, various cultures. We talk about it with the LGBTQ communities. This is now the beginning of Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to everybody who supports that. I don't have a problem with anybody in any way. My thing is, we just need to be careful not to let the bad guys in the room while we're celebrating happy people. Or be careful not to let people who want to hurt children in the room while we're celebrating happy people. That's my thing. We got to be careful. And there are going to be people who are going to want to fight me for that, and will use all of the positions of hate to define what it is that I'm saying, so that they can keep people who don't mean any good in the room. And people need to be on guard with that. They need to be on guard about that. Regardless of what it is that you feel or who you support or what have you, you got to know that there is a fox in the hen house in regards to the communication itself. They want discourse. They want fighting. They want you not to communicate. They want you not to come to a conclusion of any kind other than fighting. And that's what we need to be looking out for every day in regards to that very conversation. Because at the end of the day, they want you confused, fighting, and most importantly, not protecting the love of innocence, the love of children, protecting against really ridiculous punishments toward people, or treatment toward people, or allowing bullying in the room, or whatever the heck it would be. All different types of things that would otherwise make people's lives worse. They want us fighting about instead of finding amicable conversations and conclusions to. This is what I know. So keep on fighting that good fight, people. Come to your conclusions regardless if you support or are against, because at the end of the day, we're all gonna be family in the end. We're all gonna be family in the end. And that's what I know. And so, hey man, salute to everybody, man. I feel bad for DC Young Fi and his family. I know I went on a weird tangent, as I always do, but that's just how my head is. Prayers are going to be sent out more so for him and his children going forward. I remember his wife from the show, Wildin' Out. I remember seeing her in different various things too. She was a really sweet soul. So it's harm being done when she's lost. You know what I mean? You can just see it in the people who are responding to the situation. But I can find peace in the fact that, you know, she had her children and she found Christ in the end. She had put a post up 3 weeks ago telling everybody about how she was listening to the word of God and finding his love and all of those different things. So I trust that he now will cover her children and take care of her husband and everybody who's feeling what they're feeling at this time. That's all we can ask for as believers, man. But at the end of the day, what the Lord put in my heart to say is to continue to combat all of these different cultures, and the notion that you need to be involved in these cultures to your own peril. We all are victim of that. I'm no better. I don't want people to think that I'm exempt from that. I'm very much a part of that, been a part of that my entire life in various ways, which is why I feel confident that if I know what I'm talking about. We got to combat these cultures that will coerce us into not holding ourselves accountable for any damn bad energy that we do. If it's telling you it's cool to be bad, it's also telling you it's cool to pay for what happens when you do what comes with that. And I'm telling you, nobody's signing up for the torture that comes with karma. I promise you. Even if you don't believe in karma, you're not signing up for the torture that comes with the notion of such. I promise you're not. You just want to do what it is you want to do, and you want to move on about your life into your next happy moment. And I'm telling you, when we engage in certain energy, that next happy moment is not going to be so happy. That's just what I know, man. And that goes for everybody. People who are hurting people in various different directions to their own benefit, whether they think they're going to be in power forever or not, whether they think they're doing the Lord's will by whatever type of scientific nonsense they think they're doing by annihilating people. Believe you me, it's all going to blow back on you and your children. That's all it does. That's all it does. So that's what I've been speaking about for the last 2 years. Every time I see a story like this, I'm like, oh, there goes the culture. The culture kill again. That's where we're at with it. We skip past the details and we go straight to the source of what it is. We know exactly what it is. So once again, people, human beings, investing in things that ultimately leave people without their lives. It's sad, man. And we just go about it like it's folly, like it's all fun and games. Yeah, we just keep pushing forward. It's not okay. It's not okay, and they're standing on both sides. So that's what we need to understand about every conversation, every fight, every situation, whatever. They're standing on either side. So just trust your instincts in regards to who you are and what it is that you believe in, and know that love is going to carry you forth to the best representation of your last name. I'll tell you right now, The best representation of your last name is not going to be found in hate. It ain't going to be found in bravado. It ain't going to be found in anything other than the compassion that you show and the graciousness you receive when compassion is shown to you. It's what I've learned in my 38 years of life. So that's what I want to share with everybody, man. I know I talk, I speak in circles, I'm all over the place all of the time. But I think there's a method to it. And I think there's some substance to it. So I share it with you. Nothing's written down. But I just want to extend condolences and peace to them, man. You know, I've felt bereavement in my life enough times to know that this is a very difficult day for anybody who loses anyone. Sending love to anyone who's lost anybody. I think about the great John Beasley passed away. I didn't even know that was Malik Beasley, the Laker player. That's his grandfather. I didn't even know that. Never put the correlation together, never would have thought of it. I was very familiar with John Beasley. Very familiar. So it's really, really sad there. I want to send condolences, not to put things together, but you know, it's just so much. So many people have lost so many, man. So many people have lost so many. I'm happy that the young man on the bus that we've referred to earlier in the video didn't lose his life. Thank God that the Lord made the gun jam. But this is what it's about. Every life is important, man. Every life is important. The famous ones, the ones we know of, the ones we don't. Mine, yours. At some point in time, we got to stop allowing people to just funnel us off of a cliff like we don't have individuality or something that's special to give to the world, each and every one of us. Those who are trying to annihilate us don't even behold what the hell we are, or the heaven we are for that matter, to put more of a positive spin on it. You know, the good things that we can do individually, we can prove, each and every one of us. If not for just falling in line with the psychological devilish nature of cultures that hate us and want us out of here. So I just want to encourage you guys to love one another, love yourself, love your group. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what people are telling you or what it is that's not okay or is okay, just remember, if you're not looking to protect children, it's going to reflect poorly on you. I don't care who you are or who you're not. You understand what I'm saying? If you're not looking to protect innocence, it's going to reflect poorly on your group. It's going to reflect poorly on you. So protecting innocence does not mean imposing what means most to you on them, but more so allowing them to live in a world where wonder is everywhere and imagination, a child's imagination, can define what it is around them. Let them define it. That's what I want to share with you guys. Let the children define it. Let them figure out if they want to wear something rainbowy. Let them pick out the clothes. If they want to wear mismatched clothes, sometimes it looks a little funny, but that individuality will help them understand how to make the decisions that you're trying to make for them in a lot of these cases. This is what I remember as being a child. I remember that the best thing about being a child was being able to define those things for myself. I don't like that, mommy. What is that? I do like that, mommy. That's cool. What's going on with that, mommy? Let me ask questions was what my mind wanted to do. Rather than you telling me this is what it is, this is what it is, what it is, this is what it is, and you now have to do this. No, I don't think that's the way to go. Let them kids figure it out. They'll tell you, they'll let you know. And so that's what I understand, man. Also, something that's going on since the therapy session, I throw everything together. Something that's going viral today is a lady who seems, they say she's non-binary, and she has a baby in her hand with a rainbow shirt on, and she's saying to the baby, I hope you're gay, please be gay. And she's just saying, even though it's no pressure, it's definitely pressure, there's no pressure. But, you know, at the end of the day, she's just basically saying, I want you to be whoever you are. But since you're wearing this, you know, I put this shirt on you and I have the camera in my hand, it would be nice if you turn out to be what it is I want you to be. She was being sarcastic. But because she was a black woman and this was a black baby, I think a lot of people's minds went straight to the trigger. And they didn't realize that she was being sarcastic, trolling both sides, in my opinion. But the reality is that you could just see people jump into their feelings before jumping to their mindsets, and you realize that that's been warped for a long time by a lot of ways, in a lot of different ways, conditioned by way of our faith and religion. God doesn't like this. Now, mind you, what do we say about racism? Racism is often tied to a religious intent or a spiritual intent. They gain power from the understanding that they are greater than, or gain some sense of stability in the idea that they can push us off of the earth or what have you. It's always some type of really, really deep spiritual thing that's rooted in this ideal. A good portion of the time, even though it seems surface to a lot of us, it ain't surface at all. And so what I've come to understand is, what I think African Americans often do is mimic what has been done to them, and often don't find themselves self-aware to know that they are applying learned behavior. And so I look at black people and how our culture reacts to the rainbow culture, and I realize we treat them like white supremacy treats us. And we use religion to tie it together so that we can't waver from it, even if we would otherwise desire to. It's like, God, don't let us waver from it. And so that's something that's really interesting to me, because it parallels to something that I'm going through in my own life. As you guys very well know, if you follow my therapy sessions well enough, I'm stuck in this apartment. I feel like the Lord won't let me waver from it, so to speak. I got to hold my shares. It's like, this is to my own detriment, though. And if maybe for no other reason, it helped me see the parallel in how it does to the world when they behave the same way that I'm behaving in this house in regards to certain things that we just must be married to in the name of the Lord that happen to hurt us. It doesn't hurt us. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help us. So if it's supposed to be something that ties us to the Lord, and it reflects poorly on our last name, or reflects poorly on our character, or reflects poorly on how we're being treated, because if you hate, people are going to look at you as a threat, and if they think of you as a threat, then they're probably going to attack. So now you got to be on defense. So it's a whole lot of this going on instead of hugs and love and safety and processing things comfortably without having to be fight or flight at all times. So the type of evil that I can't use the word evil because people define evil differently, but the type of combatant energy that we engage in regards to how we apply the Lord's will to not accept. You understand how this is? It ends up making it so that we have to fight. It makes it so that you have to fight. So when you lay your head down at night and you sleep comfortably, whether you know it or not, because of your hate that you're welcoming into your life by way of your choices and what it is that you don't accept, there is ever so slight chance that you're not safe while you sleep. Because that's what beef is. You can't, beef is when you can't go to sleep at night. It's because the threat could be at any moment. The element of surprise, all these different things. So it's like, I know that people don't think about all these different variables when they're considering hating others, because they're taught not to. They're taught to forget about all of that. But the reality is, the presence of love should make it so that you're overall safer in your house. Should. Especially if everyone engages in it. Acceptance, same thing. Nobody's trying to kick your door down, kill you, nothing like that. Why? Because you left them alone to be themselves. See, this is why I understand that hating the LGBTQ community don't lead to nothing good. Because what ends up happening when you apply bullying to people, they start getting tired. And then the tired turns into anger, and the anger turns into defense. Events that make them tense turn into attacks. Attacks turn into people getting attacked at night when they sleep. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I know this stuff tumbles forward to a bunch of stuff that people can't fathom right now, because it's not necessary to fathom it right now. But I'm telling you from a mind and the spirit of a disenfranchised person, a black person, that if you try to put me back in cages, you're not safe at night. You try to put me back in chains, you're not safe at night. You understand what I'm saying? So because I know that in a different applied area of thought, I can apply that to foresight in regards to how we're treating others. It ain't gonna be safe for you if you keep treating these people poorly. And so this is where I come to understand. It's like, stop creating monsters with these agreed cultures of hate and division. You're creating monsters, man, by allowing people to continue to engage in bad energy and applying trauma to one another. This spin the block idea, let's keep on telling these kids to keep shooting each other. They're shooting each other in front of children. Children are being traumatized by these events. These events are turning people into worse humans. Worse humans turn people into monsters. that traffic people and all different types of things, Epstein, all the different stuff, it comes from people losing their having themselves desensitized by real life events that are kept up by cultures of trauma, cultures of rawness, cultures of putting people down, cultures of raising up people for monetary reasons, cultures of augmentation of the body and not having yourself be enough. These cultures breed this bullcrap I'm referring to. It's what it's made of. And maybe you can't see the deterioration of your environment around you because maybe you're not in an area where this is taking place, or maybe you're not in a time where this is played out the way that it does, but this is exactly how it plays out. One evil moment at a time, you find yourself in a space where you are deteriorating the environment over time. That's what it does. Every one of these little wars is going to wear it down. The world around us just gets worn down by the wars around us. Look at war-torn countries. Does any building stand? Look at war-torn areas. Does anything look upkept? No. When you let hate run wild and conflict run wild, you keep nothing. Everything gets destroyed. You keep nothing. So y'all want to keep these conflicts going between this group, my group. I don't like you because of how you love. You don't like me because of how I look. Y'all want to keep this going. That's what this tumbles forward to. This is how this avalanches forward. To everything being destroyed around you, because that's all it begets. So I'm trying to find a solution that doesn't tumble us forward that way, because I don't want my kids killing each other over crap that we can fix today. So that's where I'm at with it. That's why I don't like these little agents of chaos in the little corners suggesting every time I look in the little comment section, because I know it begets more of this. This tumbles forward from that. This is how they overall get the culture to be culture, one comment at a time. So that's where my mind goes. I know the Lord put this in me for a reason. There is some reaction to that energy. Simple as that. We ain't gonna go quietly into the night. Humanity will prevail. Whatever color we are, however we love. And it's enough of us to occupy the land. There's enough space stations being built to occupy humanity. We do not have to be killed to survive. Do not let them lie to you about that. Do not let them convince you of that with bad math. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.